Support comes from Gemma, architects, planners, and designers seeking to bring joy to their clients and communities. Details at gemastl.com.
This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. A third of American adults are bird watchers, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They do it for the love of the outdoors and to better understand the feathered creatures we shared the planet with. But there's a much smaller niche within that group that finds competition in the hobby, and they spend a lot of time, money, and energy to rise to the top. A big year refers to a birder's quest to identify as many bird species as they can within one calendar year. A new documentary, co-created by two brothers from Collinsville, explores what it takes to accomplish a big year, the often eccentric characters one meets on the journey, and what they learned in the process. It's irreverent, funny, frank, and revealing all the way through.
Dude, warblers, you're lucky if they stay in one place for more than a second or two. You're looking for a tiny little bird way up in the tree, behind some leaves, and it's constantly moving, bouncing around. You know, you're gonna have a sore neck.
You know what type it is?
Bud? The way it's holding its wings.
It's holding its wings like theater kids hold their arms. Buddy, we suck at this, eh?
Listers is available to watch now on YouTube. And joining me are its creators, Quentin and Owen Reiser. Quentin and Owen, welcome to St. Louis on the Air.
Thanks for having us. It's an honor to be on the hometown station.
Great.
Hey.
So let's start at the beginning, and that's how the idea to do a big year came about. What was its inspiration?
Quentin?
Well, as it says in the movie, one day I just got stoned and I found the family's bird guidebook, a book that we've had for as far as I can remember, just laying around the house. But, you know, we weren't into bird watching, and, you know, that day I decided to flip through the book, and I just thought about how crazy it would be if you knew about all the birds in this book. And, you know, it was kind of astonishing to think about all these birds are in the United States. So it just kind of spiraled from there. Did a few quick Google searches and found out about this thing called a big year. And, you know, after identifying one woodpecker in the backyard, we decided we might as well just go for it.
Mm-hmm. What did you think, Owen, when Quentin came to you with this idea?
I thought he was nuts. I thought he was crazy. But, you know, we just had to go for it. And we learned a lot about the culture of bird watching in the process. And now we're bird watchers, you know. It's a disease, like Quentin says, that can't be fixed. It's a lifetime disease. And, yeah, it's a great thing.
Did anyone try to dissuade you from doing it?
No. I don't think so. What do you think, Quentin?
No, I mean, you know, we didn't really tell too many people we were doing it at first. You know, we told our family and friends we were going to go look for birds this year, and they were just kind of like, oh, all right, whatever. Okay. You guys have fun. Yeah.
How did you all cover the trip money-wise? I mean, 1 year is a long time. Owen?
Yeah, we just on savings, really. We spent almost no money. We were eating beans and rice every night, living out of a minivan, Quentin's 2010 Kia Sedona base model, without DVD players. And, yeah, I think our total budget was like $16,000. Is that right, Quentin? Something like that?
Yeah, it was, that's right on the money. $16,000 is what we spent, and that is a fraction of what some people spend on a big year, we found out.
And how much do people spend on a big year typically?
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a rich person's game for sure, and that's why we didn't win the game.
You didn't win the game?
No, not even close.
Oh, what does winning mean?
That's a great question. It's, you know, I guess it's seeing as many birds as you can, but we quickly found out that that's not what makes it enjoyable for us. We just like watching birds.
How many birds did you find, Quentin? You have the number, right?
Yeah, so we ended up finding 579 species of birds, and to me, we won. I'd say we won with that number. Given our circumstance and our knowledge going into things, and just the time that we had. We'll take that as a win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, 579. That is a lot of birds.
It seems like I didn't even know there was that many at the start of the year. So that's some of them seem made up to me.
Mm-hmm. Did you check them off against the book that inspired you, Quentin?
We did bring that book with us, but there's actually this software that they've made. It's a Cornell product. So we call it the Ivy League Bird software, but it's called eBird, and that's where you find and log bird sightings. So that's what we ended up using.
Mm-hmm. And how many did the winner identify?
I think it was 758.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it makes me sick just thinking about it.
And you
set a new record as well.
It was a new record. Some of them seem made up, you said?
Yeah.
Owen? Almost like Pokemon?
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. We got that analogy a lot last year. We never grew up playing Pokemon, but people have said, and especially with the app that people use, eBird, the Cornell software, it's almost a video game on your phone. And we kind of towards the end of the year we just went away from that. We don't really use eBird a whole lot anymore, just because it's kind of like that video game thing, and it's good to get away from that.
Yeah.
When you're going outside,
What were some of your early sightings, and where did you make them? Owen?
Our early sightings were in this area in St. Louis. We started in January. The first week was in the St. Louis area. We saw there's a bird that's only seen in St. Louis called the Eurasian tree sparrow, and it was introduced by, I don't know, do you know who was introduced by, Quentin? Was it like the British or something?
It must have been the British.
It's always the British.
But it was introduced in Forest Park in 1870, I believe. I don't remember who, but yeah, that is one of the first birds that we saw in this area last year. It's kind of a claim to fame for St. Louis as far as birds go.
And somebody in our office has a poster of that has a depiction of that bird. I'll show it to you, Owen, on our way out. So this documentary, Listers, it has an accompanying field guide that's written and illustrated by you, Quentin. It's with contributions from Owen. What are a couple of your favorite selections from the book? Owen, we'll start with you.
I like this one, Quentin. Now, Quentin wrote all these sections here, but I like this one. It's the great blue heron. He says, "You'll want to avoid being a small animal of any kind near one of these birds. To us humans, this is a large, majestic wading bird. To anything small near water, it's what nightmares are made of. The great blue heron is an iconic bird and a great bridge between birders and civilians. It seems like everyone has seen one. They're everywhere and large enough that regular people notice them. A fantastic introductory bird and an absolute weapon."
A weapon. Quentin, how about you? What is one of the ones that you had maybe the most fun writing, or maybe something that you wanted to introduce to people?
Well, since we were just talking about the Eurasian tree sparrow, I figured I'd just read that one. They were introduced in St. Louis in 1870, the same place where we were introduced over 100 years later. The males are very similar to a male house sparrow, but with a clear and distinct cheek spot. It's all about the cheek spot. In my experience, they hang out slightly farther from human development than the house sparrow. So they might not nest at the Home Depot, but they're close enough in case they need to make a repair.
Home Depot, it actually makes me think about one of the birds that you all were searching for, only to find that it likes gas stations, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which bird was that again?
That'd be the great-tailed grackle, and it's one of the most common birds in the continent. And we didn't know that at the start because we didn't know anything about birds. And on the software, we saw one had been logged. We didn't even know how to use the software either, but we saw a pin on the map that said one had been seen 40 minutes away. And so we went way out of the way to go see one, not to know that we'd see them every single day the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. So gas stations, they're even inside the gas stations. They're everywhere.
The way that you all started this journey, I believe that eBird is something that you came into a little bit later. But before eBird ever existed, there were bird hotlines, right? Quentin, can you tell us about these bird hotlines? Most of them are defunct now. What did you discover?
So these bird hotlines, it was basically eBird back in the day. That's how people found out about these bird sightings. They'd call into the hotline for their area, and they'd see what birds were reported around for the week. And so for the documentary, Owen called a bunch of these hotlines to see if he could get a hold of somebody, and every single one of them was defunct except for one, and that was the Amish. And the Amish still use this hotline because they haven't come around to eBird yet, so they're still holding it down with the hotline.
Yeah, and they're never going to come around to eBird based on what I heard.
And what did you hear?
Yeah, they are not a fan of eBird.
Oh. Were there any stories that were shared with you along the way that really opened up for you how dedicated people have to be in order to engage particularly in listing?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The listers are a subset of the culture of bird watchers, and the most passionate listers will do just about anything to get a bird on their list. And we met somebody who snuck into Cuba illegally to see some birds on their list. We also met the previous record holders. To see a rare bird in Florida, they were, tunnel vision on the bird, and one of them got attacked by an alligator. Mm-hmm. And they'll do anything.
And that alligator attack, it left some serious damage, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was beaten up pretty good there.
Mm-hmm. We actually have a clip from the film that shows where it gives that story. And this is about a man who was attacked by an alligator while trying to spot a very specific bird, a ruddy quail dove.
And that bastard hit me so fast I didn't even have time to blink or try to back away or anything. He had my arm, just grabbed me just like that. He came like 90 miles an hour. And I jerked my arm away before he could quite lock on, but he cut top and bottom on my left arm. He cut to the bone with his teeth. So I've got like 10 gashes top and 10 gashes bottom, clean to the bone. We weren't going to go to the doctor because I consider myself a tough guy, and I don't do that. I know some plants like golden seal and comfrey and mullein that are very good disinfectants. Mm-hmm. And I scalded the leaves and then used the salve and wrapped it in leaves, and you wouldn't believe it, in 2 days that sucker was healed up, and I was carrying a camera around.
That was Victor Stoll, who, at the time you spoke with him, held the record for the highest number of bird species observed in the lower 48 U.S. states. He saw 751 birds the previous year. And also that bird is the ruddy quail dove. I mean, hearing that story, what did that make you think about what you were potentially going to be facing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why we didn't see that many birds, is because it just didn't mean that much to us, Mm-hmm. We were just more having a good time and enjoying the birds that we did see. It wasn't as pressing of an issue for us.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I will note, in the film, you all had an encounter that could have been very dangerous, right, Quentin?
Would you be talking about a mountain lion?
Oh, yes. What happened there?
Well, we we're in the Chiricahua Mountains in southeastern Arizona, and that's one of the Sky Islands down there, and it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I'd highly recommend everyone get out there. It's a premier birding spot. And one night when we were there, we decided to go out owling, which is when you go look for owls at night. And so we went out with a flashlight and just started walking down the Forest Service Road and listening, looking for owls, and we see this pair of eyes looking back at us, and we thought, oh, that's a deer in the road, I guess. Why hasn't it run away yet, But then we got a little bit closer, and we noticed that something was off. It was alone, it was by itself. The ears were not that big, and it had a round head. And that's when we started to kind of get a little scared. We started clapping, we started yelling a little bit, talking a little bit louder, and it didn't run away like a deer usually does. It came closer, actually. And so our hearts are racing. We start slowly backing up, we start clapping even louder, beating our chests, doing whatever. And it just came closer and closer. It got to about 25 yards from us, and then checked us out enough and decided, we weren't going to be tasting that good with all the canned tuna and beans we'd been eating. And it leaped back into the woods, and it didn't make a sound. It was quite scary. I mean, I had just smoked a joint before we headed out, and so my heart rate was probably 200,
240.
And I'm glad that
nuts.
you all are here to talk about that. We're talking with Quentin and Owen Reiser, the brothers behind the new documentary, Listers, A Glimpse into Extreme Birding.
Support comes from the St. Louis Public Library Foundation. During these challenging times, free access to digital resources is a necessity. You can help our community stay connected. Support your St. Louis Public Library at slpl.org.
Welcome back. Let's return to our conversation with Quentin and Owen Reiser, the brothers behind Listers, a new documentary about competitive bird watching. Before the break, we were talking about some of the characters, real-life characters you met along the way, and Listers is chock full of those. You spoke with people who serve as guides for people who are attempting a big year, as you were, with birders who birdwatch simply for the love of it, and with the most competitive listers in the country, and that includes Florida residents David and Tammy McQuaid.
Nobody has more photographs of birds in the United States than Tammy and I. We're the only people to go over 700 birds 6 times, and we did it 6 consecutive years in a row. Like I said, we've been number 1 in the ABA several times. We've been number 1 in the lower 48. Been number 2 a couple times too.
Which kills him, I want you to know. Just kills him. If there was a competition for who brushed their teeth the best, he would enter the competition and win. I mean, he loves competition. So
I'm consistently ranked number 1 in our office and in our area. For my occupation, our light show is the biggest light show in Southwest Florida. So it's just part of my nature. I mean, I can't help it. That's how I am.
Now, our producer, Emily Woodbury, mentioned how that interview with the McQuaids sitting in their recliners and a rotating Christmas tree in the background reminded her of the 2000 mockumentary, Best in Show, about competitive dog shows. Was that at all on your mind, Owen, as you were making the film?
No, I've never seen that movie in my life, so no, I'm glad it reminded of. I've heard great things about that movie, so.
And the music in the background, too.
Yeah.
What were you trying to evoke with that?
Well, I think, and just later on in that segment about the Christmas light show, it's one of my favorite segments because it just sums it all up. It almost doesn't matter what the competition is. It's if they're wired that way, then that's how they operate. They want to be number 1.
Yeah, Quentin, what was it like to meet the McQuaids? I mean, they are so far along in their competitive bird watching journey, and you and Owen were just starting out, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a canyon between us as far as the types of bird watchers we are. But they were, they were very gracious in letting us into their home and giving us a great interview and an insight into what it takes to be number one. They're extremely passionate, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. And age was not necessarily a key determinant in who would do well. Another character we meet was a kid who broke the record that year. His name is Ezekiel Dobson, and he broke the record by listing 758 birds. At his age, I mean, could you have ever imagined doing something like that, Owen?
No. And bird watchers do skew older. A lot of them aren't even buying green bananas anymore. But there are some young bucks out there that are. We saw a group, a subset of the culture of young homeschooled kids that, they're really good at it. They're really passionate about the game, the eBird side of things, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Is that a link maybe to Pokemon as well?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Some of the birds that you found in your big year have rather strange names, like this migratory bird you found during spring migration.
It's a Dixie.
You can just call it that, and it's cool about it.
It's the name.
It's not mad. It doesn't get mad.
No, Dick Sissy. It's not a slur. It's the name of a bird.
What's up, Dick Sissy?
Birds have funny names, and a lot of them are changing.
Birds in North America will no longer be named after people. The American Ornithological Society says they're renaming dozens of birds in an effort to eliminate ties to racism.
Some are going to hurt, but it's all the right thing. Yeah. And just makes no sense and doesn't. And it's another thing where you're not giving the bird any credit. Like Cooper's hawk, it has nothing to do with the bird.
Quentin, did anything stand out to you about the way birds are named and identified?
Yeah, so a lot of birds are named in a way that gives you some idea of what the bird does or what the bird looks like, which is great. And then there's a whole nother group of birds that are just named after humans, which is seems a little weird. It doesn't give you any idea about what the bird does or what the bird looks like. And people are finding out that some of these humans that these birds are named after, maybe weren't the nicest people back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And the newscaster that we heard in that clip mentioned the efforts to eliminate racism. And, there is growing diversity, or maybe just a recognized diversity in the world of birding. Is that something that you observed in the year that you spent on the road, Owen?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and it's one of those things where it's really, everyone's kind of a bird watcher. If you've seen a bird, like I'm sure you're a birder, Elaine. And if you see a bird and recognize and make a note about it, watch a little bit of its behavior, you're a bird watcher whether you like it or not. So it's really it is for everybody in that regard.
Quentin, did you find at all that people were assessing or evaluating whether you were legit as bird watchers?
Do you mean like as far as what we were doing? Like if we were... Well, I think as the year went on, we became more legit. We became, the whole thing kind of started as a joke, and but we fell in love with birds and bird watching. It's it's a lifelong passion now. It's going to be hard to turn it off. Mm-hmm. But as far as people wondering if we were legit, I don't know. We didn't really experience too much resistance. Or
I guess the eBird folks can sometimes give you a hard time, but other than that, nothing too much.
There was a point in the film where it seemed like you could have just been done with with this. I've heard it said about Wisconsin that their state bird is the mosquito.
Oh, yes.
And you all had to deal with lots of that.
Oh, yes.
What was it that made you keep going at that point, Quentin?
Well, it was just that we were having a good time, you know. It was this whole thing. Looking back on it, we were really just looking for a good reason to go on a road trip, and the whole birding was secondary. It was just a plus. Mm-hmm. And you know, when we got to a point later in the year when, you know, we weren't going to break any records, there's, you know, really no point in making our number of birds we've seen, making our list get bigger. We still loved what we were doing, and so we were going to finish out the year, you know, no matter what.
And also the fact that we were making a film on it. Yeah, that's a little bit of motivation, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Get all the footage that you need. There was another point of frustration regarding one of the birds that you had reported seeing and that being snatched from you. Now, bird identification, it does rely on the honor system, right? And then there are some of these checks. What was your experience with that, Owen?
Yeah, they say it's on the honor system, but it kind of isn't in a way. There's moderators on the software, the leaderboard software, which is pretty funny when you think about it. But yeah, so they'll send you an email that says, you know, the bird that you saw isn't the one that you saw, and it leads to some funny interactions.
Mm-hmm. When you did have an interaction like that, I mean, what made it fun or funny or memorable?
Oh, just the fact that it's taken so seriously, and you know, you get a formal email about a bird that you saw outside in the wild. That's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Is that included anywhere in the book, maybe?
Is there a segment about that, Quentin?
Yeah, there is. There's one that stands out to me is early on we saw a red-shouldered hawk, and we reported it as a golden eagle because we thought we saw a golden eagle, and we were super excited about it. But, you know, being the novices that we were, it wasn't a golden eagle, and we got an email about that one. And,
so you won't get that one wrong again.
Yeah. And you do learn from it. And, you know, there's a reason they send you these emails. They're trying to keep a nice scientific database and all that. But, you know, to guys like us, we're just, you know, you get that email and you just kind of laugh about it.
We're talking with Quentin and Owen Reiser, the creators of Listers. The documentary follows their year-long cross-country quest to identify as many bird species as possible and what they learned about the competitive birding community along the way. We'll be back shortly to continue this conversation.
If you have a smart speaker, you have access to the entire world of NPR and St. Louis Public Radio. All the latest news and all the captivating stories. Activate our voices with yours by telling your smart speaker to play St. Louis Public Radio.
Welcome back. We're talking with two brothers from Collinsville, Owen and Quentin Reiser, who spent a calendar year traveling across the United States to identify as many bird species as possible. They documented their quest in a new film called Listers, and an accompanying field guide. Listers is available to watch for free on YouTube, and their field guide can be found on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. Now, earlier you'd mentioned how difficult it was to live out of a van for a year. Both of you had talked about that. And watching your film, the mosquitoes seem to be one of the more challenging aspects. But Quentin, I understand that you are actually joining us from your van right now. Are you still chasing birds? What are you doing?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm looking at birds every day, and I am in the back of the minivan right now. You caught me.
How has that van survived? I mean, you not only were watching birds, you were also fixing the vehicle on the way, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. It's got to be the best car that you've had, right, Quentin?
Yeah, I mean, this is the best vehicle I've ever owned. But, you know, it's all about routine maintenance. You got to keep up with your maintenance here.
Right. So, you know, when we think about, like, all the fun that you had, there are also, of course, these lessons that you learned. What did you learn about the challenges that wild birds face, Owen?
Yeah, it's kind of it's not looking good right now, and it's all about habitat loss. There's other problems like feral cats, glass during migration, but the big one is habitat loss, and just encroachment from development is really the main reason.
Mm-hmm. And there's a moment in the film where you experience some loss, right, Quentin, involving a killdeer nest?
Yeah, so we had found this killdeer nest, and killdeer, they just nest on the ground. They don't even really make a nest. They just will straight up lay their eggs on the ground, and often it's, in an inopportune place like a gravel parking lot, which is where this one was. And, we found it one day just pulling up to our favorite birdwatching spot, and we decided to put some flags around it so nobody would park over it or, accidentally run it over. And so we check in on it every few days, and about 3 weeks later, we had read in the guidebook that, about 3 weeks is when the eggs hatch. So we went back to check on them to see if they had hatched, and what we found was terrible. It was the whole area had been mowed over, and the flags that we put up were just broken in little bits everywhere. So we knew that the eggs didn't stand a chance either. They got smoked, which is it's so tough. And you think about that. That's happening every day all across the country. And
yeah, that's nothing. That one nest is that's everywhere, all the time.
Did you see other examples of that, of habitat that has been affected by what humans are doing?
Oh yeah, all the time. Anytime you see a new Dick's Sporting Goods going up, or a new Walmart on the whatever, that's all habitat. There's just, we like to think that we go out to see nature, but it's all around us. Like we're living in nature. So it's like anytime you see development, a new subdivision getting put up, they're tearing woods down. That's all bird habitat.
Yeah. Returning to the big year portion of what you all were doing, Quentin, you spoke with people with various opinions on the ethics of luring birds to you in order to get them checked off on your list, and of playing back audio of bird calls from your phone, or even mimicking the calls without technology. Where did you come down on that?
So it's called playback, and it's what you do is you play the song or the call of the bird, from your phone. And with certain birds it works, and with certain birds it doesn't. But we found out about midway through the year that it's pretty controversial to be doing that. It's it's maybe not the best thing to be doing for birds. Most of the time, the birds, it might fly in and check you out, and then it might leave. But if you're doing that near their nest, or at the wrong times of year, it can be really disruptive to the birds. And we learned that from people we talked to. And so, once we kind of came around and understood that, our use of playback went down to pretty much zero. And now we don't use playback at all. But during the year, we definitely were abusing playback, and we learned that from other birders, like some of these competitive birders. That's kind of where we picked it up from. But I wouldn't recommend it. I think if you're using playback, you're trying a little bit too hard.
Mm-hmm. And you used an instrument at some point, didn't you, Quentin?
Yeah, so I have this little flute, and we had each brought an instrument on one of our trips. Owen brought a harmonica, and I brought this little flute. And we thought we'd make little tunes when we were bored, but what we found out was this flute, you could mimic the sound of a pygmy owl, and you could fool the bird software with it. You can hold Merlin, the Ivy League bird software. It'll read the sounds of that are occurring around you, and tell you what birds you're hearing. And if you use this flute, you could match the pygmy owl sound, and it would fool the software into thinking it was a pygmy owl. So tried using that a little bit. Never did bring one in that way, but we thought that was hilarious that you could fool the bird software with it.
And Ivy League bird software.
Oh yeah, Cornell.
Was there one? We here at St. Louis Public Radio are familiar with CPB. CPB for you all was cost per bird. Was there a bird that you wanted to see that you had some sunk cost in that you never managed to catch a glimpse of?
Oh man, was that? What do you think, Quentin? The Henslow sparrow out in near Weldon Springs?
Yeah, we went out there 2 or 3 times near the old nuclear waste that they buried out there. That's now a nature park. But yeah, some had been reported out there, and we spent hours and hours there looking for one. Never did find one. Another one was the and those are both common birds, and as novices we missed a lot of common birds, but yeah, we definitely put some time into those and didn't come away with them, but
Yeah.
that's the nature of the game.
And we missed the name of that bird. What was it again?
Oh, the Henslow sparrow,
And the second one, the second common one?
the black-billed cuckoo.
Oh, black-billed cuckoo.
yes.
Okay.
It's a sneaky one.
Is it?
That one?
Yep.
How has bird watching changed the way that you move through the world, Owen?
I think just observing other stuff that has nothing to do with birds. Like, you see all these, the culture of the entire country when you're traveling through all these random spots. Like, I don't know, you just noticed even human behavior too. Like there's good and bad, but yeah, you just notice everything because you're being more observant, especially when you're spending a whole year just trying to find stuff. So.
Punton, how about you?
Yeah, I think you're just more attuned to everything. It's, your ears are more tuned in to, as for birds, you hear a little chip and you might know what bird that is. But yeah, like Owen said, I think you're just more attuned to everything and paying attention to everything a little bit more, whether it's, some crazy human behavior or it's a funky bird out there that you want to take a look at.
Mm-hmm. Funky Bird sounds awesome.
Could be a good band name, Funky Bird.
Yes, exactly. Well, in this world of bird watching, your documentary, or your film has now been out for a little more than a month. It has 1.2 million views. Have you heard from any of the people who were included in the film?
Yeah, almost all of them.
Oh, what have they had to say?
They loved it. Yeah. They all thought it was a big hoot. Yeah.
No pun intended. The documentary is really well done, and it has received rave reviews from bird watchers. I actually got an email from a past guest on our show who just reached out and said, I heard about this and found this write-up on Medium about it, and it just so happened that we were going to be talking with you two today. Why did you decide to stream it free on YouTube instead of going with a major distributor?
Yeah. Well, it was kind of crowdfunded in a way too, so we kind of owed it to the people that through Patreon that throughout the year they helped us that way. So we thought, we'd put it on YouTube initially, and then the last few weeks we've gotten offers from folks that could get it on Netflix or HBO or Amazon. And I don't know, you look into that industry a little bit, and it's, for sales at least, it's kind of not a good deal for the filmmaker. Mm-hmm. If from the get-go, if it's a commission project, it can be that's great. But to sell or license a finished project is kind of a little bit slimy.
Mm-hmm. Slimy in that
they just take most of the money.
Yeah. That kind of reception, though, like from these distributors, is it a bit of vindication that you and your brother, Owen, that you approached this the right way?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's nice. It's like flattering, I guess, for sure. And, hopefully we can leverage that into the next project.
Mm-hmm. Is it any surprise to you, Quentin, that people have received the film in this way?
Owen made a fantastic film here. He's all props to him for the editing and the director on this. I thought people would like this. I thought people mainly in the birding realm or the natural world would like this, but it's been kind of shocking and overwhelming that so many people from the outside have enjoyed this film. And one of the best things is when people reach out and they say, I've never had any interest in birds at all, but I just downloaded the Merlin app, or I just got binoculars. So that's been crazy to see that it's actually getting people into bird watching.
Hopefully it can make some more birders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Owen and Quentin Reiser are brothers who grew up in Collinsville and spent a year documenting their foray into the world of competitive birding for a new film they made, and that's free on YouTube. It's called Listers. An accompanying field guide is now available on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble. It's called Field Guide of All the Birds We Found in 1 Year in the United States. It has an NSFW cover, but it is a great read. Quentin and Owen, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been great.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This episode was produced by Emily Woodbury.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news each weekday from around the St. Louis region and the state capitals in Jefferson City.
Our schools are accredited. We don't need this bill.
And Springfield.
How many more years must pass before lawmakers see time is of the essence?
I'm Abby Larico. Join me each weekday for The Gateway on the STLPR app or wherever you get podcasts.